Hello everyone, this is Squallcasting. I've got more StarCraft 2 for you. Down here in the bottom left, we do indeed have RGxProdigy, and in the top right, we have NeurOSiS as the red Zerg. And in case I forgot to mention what Prodigy is, he's Protoss, in case you can't see that. So anyways, this is another community-sourced game. Prodigy here is in the Platinum League, so big thanks to him for sending me this replay. Hopefully fun times will be had. I hope you guys are doing good. I personally just got finished with listening to possibly one of the best Chrono Trigger remixes I've ever heard in my entire life. If you don't know what Chrono Trigger is, it is the best JRPG ever. And I don't care what anyone says about Final Fantasy. Chrono Trigger is the best. The end. So anyways, back to StarCraft 2. Prodigy is scouting on out. Gonna navigate his way past all those destructible rocks, bumping into the drone rather rudely. And then gonna head on up. And we'll have to see what NeurOSiS decides to go for. Could potentially go for a hatch first. He really wants to kill that probe. He doesn't like probes at all, wow. And Prodigy, on the other hand, just has a pylon in a kind of an odd spot. Could be he wants to start doing a Forge Fast Expand type wall with that, and then maybe wall up to his gas. I suppose that could work. We'll see where he goes with that. Just chrono boosting out them probes. A single pylon finishing up to block that hatchery, but instead NeurOSiS takes the third. Pretty typical stuff. And yeah, it does indeed look like some sort of Forge Fast Expand variant. Letting the minerals build up a bit high, so we might be wanting to try Nexus first, which would be pretty gutsy, but why not? Economy's good. You want to have as much income as possible. And I have a lot of respect for players that can manage getting, 3-4 bases up. And I've seen lots of players do that, even in, Platinum, Gold. They'll keep trying to expand, because anytime I play a game, it's really rare that I get off 2 bases. And, I'm in Diamond, and I suck at remembering to expand, so props to these guys for getting it done. It does look like there's a bit of a wall here, so I don't know if that's a mistake by Prodigy or intentional. Could be he just wants that to be his little opening he can plug with his Zealot. We will see. NeurOSiS is indeed finishing up this hatchery. Hasn't killed that pylon yet. His spawning pool just finished though, so he'll probably send out a ling or two just to take that out. Getting his queen now, getting 2 queens at the same time, so that was timed out kind of nicely. That's pretty cool. Prodigy has gotten gas, is not yet mining from it, but probably will do so soon. Just continuing to get his wall going. Has a photon cannon there. I don't know, maybe that is walled. It's really hard to say. It looks like it isn't. I mean, look at those outlines of the buildings. I don't know. I guess we'll find out later. Anyways, his Nexus does indeed finish up. So both players just gonna crank on out the economy early on in the game. These links coming down to work on that pylon. And NeurOSiS will, in all likelihood, take that base very shortly, because he does have the minerals for it. And yep, there comes the drone, so he's getting ready to do it. Gonna plop it down. There we go. Yay! I'm right. Yay! We had a discussion in my last game about sometimes how I'm wrong at times because I'm human, but I'm right most of the time, so it's okay. Anyways, okay, interesting. So it's like it's a double wall almost. So he's got another wall here. He's got kind of a secondary wall here, and he's got a cannon tucked nicely into there. Now, honestly, this is probably a little bit overkill with the cannons, but, it could be he's died to, well, 1 base roach all hits before, and just really wants to be safe. Really wants to be safe. Wow, that's a lot of cannons. Has to cancel that one for a second. Even more cannons. And then just decides to kill the probe. Okay. Well, Prodigy's gonna be darn safe for the time being. That said, though, that many minerals invested into cans means NeurOSiS can expand and drone as much as he pleases. So far, both players are playing very defensively. Starting to get that warp gate just now. Going to chrono boost it out so we can get a little bit sooner. Getting a sentry first, so he can throw down dem force fields. Always a good idea. Getting his third gas. And just, working on that economy. So, good stuff. So, we'll have to see what each player chooses to move into. NeurOSiS does have these gases now, so it looks like he wants to start teching a little bit. And that's literally the first gas he's gotten the entire game. First gas at 7:30 minute mark. Totally standard. I don't know. And he's starting to spread that creep, so that way he has more mobility and vision. Always a good thing to do. Sending a single Zergling in there just to take a look. And Prodigy just adding on some gateways. This gateway protects from Zerglings getting in through here. And then he's just got that sentry there to throw down a force field here if they come at him. So it's a very complete, very safe wall. Yeah. Now NeurOSiS is getting a roach horn, so it does look like he wants to just be, well, making roaches. And roaches are pretty darn good. He does have that Evo chamber down, so he will be able to start getting upgrades. Getting his lair now. I can never remember which is first, the lair or the hive, for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know lair is first. I don't know why I always have to check. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He's getting tier 2. There we go. Let's use a really generic phrase to describe what he's doing. And he's got that base very nicely saturated. This one's pretty good. And this one is as well. So NeurOSiS is definitely doing well as far as economy. 58 drones now to the 39 of Prodigy. Even more coming out. Throwing down a Spore Crawler just to remain safe against a Void Ray, I guess. Okay. Sounds reasonable to me. Could also be he's worried about DTs as well. DTs kind of suck. Not as in, like, they're terrible units, but more that it really sucks to go up against them. And Prodigy just decided to break down these rocks. Not sure why he's doing that, as I would argue wider ramps is generally more advantageous to the Zerg, but meh, his decision, I guess. NeurOSiS is making a nice Overlord party here. This almost looks like an arrow, like you've got the part going down here, then up here, and then if these Overlords move back, it would be an arrow pointing down here. Maybe at that base, I don't know. But it looks like an arrow, so it's fun. Now NeurOSiS is getting a bunch of roaches. He's getting his missile attacks and movement speed. Prodigy, on the other hand, getting his robo. So his army, honestly, right now is minuscule. 3 sentries and 2 stalkers versus a lot more roaches. Did have an observer out, but it died. So he did get a bead on these roaches. But since NeurOSiS hasn't tried to attack, now Prodigy should start getting Colossi. Once you get enough Colossi, roaches basically evaporate as though they are water in the Saharan desert. Yes, I just used an analogy from real life. I started that analogy and I was just gonna say like water, but then I was like, no, I should say like water in something. I was like, what's some place that's really Saharan desert? Yeah. So that was how that thought process went. Thought I'd let you know. And NeurOSiS just building up a nice roach count. Now, if he does decide to attack with this and manages to hit before there's more than 2 Colossi, actually more than 1 Colossi. Once you get to 2 Colossi, that's kind of that critical mass you need to worry about. But if he attacks soonish, he could potentially deal a lot of damage. Singles out here, just scouting, I guess. Gets a single Zergling before dying for ire. Pretty typical stuff. And getting +1 for his unit, so that way the Colossi will be even more effective. Where is that Colossi? I want to take a look at it. Yeah, Colossi. So normally they do 15 damage per shot with 2 shots, so 30 damage. Once that finishes up, it goes to 17, so they basically gain 4 damage from a single upgrade. So that's pretty darn good. Not as good as Carrios, though. Oh my goodness. Carrios gain something like 16 damage per attack upgrade. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous. Makes me sad they're going away from with Heart of the Swarm. At least I think they're still going away with Heart of the Swarm. I'm pretty sure they're removing the mothership. I don't know for sure if they're removing the carrier. They might be removing the carrier and the mothership. Anyway, NeurOSiS is pushing in here. Should be able to deal some really good damage here. Getting a force field down, blocking the roaches a tiny bit, but he needs to fall back. And yeah, he's going to lose this base absolutely for sure. Very nice by NeurOSiS. Hitting before there's enough Colossi. Prodigy does have 2 now, but his standing army is so incredibly small. So he's going to need some pretty good force fields if NeurOSiS decides to push in again. We will see. Oh, here we go. Roach is barreling in on the front, positioning the Colossi on the high ground so they can remain safe. Very nice. Some good force fields keeping the Roaches from advancing. Roaches having to fall back. Surging forward though, trying to get the Colossi. Colossi need to fall back or they're going to be in trouble. Get up on the high ground, keeping them safe. Very nice. And those Colossi are collecting a lot of kills. But that is so many Roaches. They're just pushing up the front. These photon cannons definitely getting some good use as they're taking out lots of Roaches. Some great force fields, pinning those Roaches, keeping them from getting in. They do take out the Cyber Core. These sentries, tickling them to death. And a bit of a rough spot for Prodigy, but that said, this Roach count has diminished a lot. But take a look at what's home. Oh, that's just Overlords. I saw this massive red blip on my map, and I was like, that's so many Roaches. But anyways, these Roaches here are finally getting cleaned up. And I do not think Prodigy lost... Yeah, he did not lose any Colossi in the middle of that. And while losing your entire standing army in a third really sucks, losing Colossi sucks even more. So, well played by him, keeping those Colossi alive, throwing down a whole bunch more gateways just to kind of rebuild his wall. And he looks like he might want to push out. That's kind of a bad idea. With this many Roaches, you do not want to be aggressive. 4 Colossi are powerful, but these Roaches can run forward and one-shot them. And yeah, he's pulling back, very wise. Getting to that cliff on. One might die. Oh, barely escapes. 29 HP. That armor upgrade, saving its life. And these Colossi are in a nice position now, because all the Roaches are stuck behind these buildings. They just kind of like laser all the Roaches to death. And while NeurOSiS is killing a lot of buildings, he's not really killing tech. And he's not killing workers. And he's not killing Colossi either, so... Not the best engagement by him. Let's take a look at those resources lost. Yeah, NeurOSiS nearly doubling Prodigy. Although, honestly, that's not that unusual. The Zerg generally has to lose more to trade evenly with the Protoss army. And Prodigy's starting to get a very nice Colossi count up, and that's getting very critical mass-ish. And NeurOSiS is going to need to transition out of these Roaches only if he's going to have any chance in this game. Would definitely be good to see him throw down a Spire and start getting some Corruptors so he can pick those off. Because the one thing Prodigy does not have is anti-air. All he has that can shoot up is 3 sentries, which will take about 8 years to kill a Corruptor. So hopefully NeurOSiS picks up on that and does move in that direction. But we will see. Prodigy also mixing in 2 Immortals. Definitely a good decision when there are this many Roaches. And they will be able to tank a little bit for the Colossi as well, which is good. Colossi take so long to build and are so very expensive. They're like tanks. You never want to lose them, except Colossi are like double the cost of tanks. And take just slightly longer to build. So, so pushing up again. That's a lot of Colossus. Let's see if the Roaches can get any of the Colossi. I have them all selected. That doesn't look like any are taking damage. Okay, I think it might have lost one. Oh no, those Immortals doing some good work. Momentarily zapping his own building. Definitely not the best move, but again, it looks like Prodigy managed to keep all his Colossi alive. And while NeurOSiS is, ahead in economy, because he has his 4th up now, if you don't kill the Colossi, eventually he'll just get enough Colossi to just kill you. And Prodigy decided to double expand, so he feels pretty safe now. He's got a decent number of charge lots. He's got a few Stalkers in there. And some Immortals. And just now NeurOSiS throwing down the Spire. And that is probably way too late, to be honest. A whole bunch of Overlords rallied forward. They might all die. That's a bit embarrassing for NeurOSiS. No, that's not going to supply cap him because he has way too much supply. How many Overlords does he have anyways? 35 after losing all those. So he's got a pretty healthy Overlord count. But yeah, NeurOSiS is definitely in a bit of trouble this game. Because when all these Colossi arrive on the door, all he's going to have are Roaches. And Roaches only just isn't going to work at all against this many Colossi. So this could be curtains for NeurOSiS, we'll see. Prodigy breaking down these rocks so he can engage up it a bit more easily. Rocks go down, and yeah, that Roach army has absolutely no chance. Prodigy though, oh, he does burrow to try to get in, but he's got an observer with it. Burrow's not going to do anything. Finally losing a Colossi, but lost so many Roaches in the process. Prodigy Prodigy, though, looks like he wants to fall back for the time being, regroup a little bit, getting 2 Colossi out at a time. Yeah, NeurOSiS really needs to start getting them Corruptors if he's going to have a chance. Yeah, Prodigy going to swing on down here, kill this base, and there really isn't anything at all NeurOSiS can do about this. He has only roaches. This is not going to work out for him. And I think, okay, 13 Corruptors coming out now, so losing a base to get those out, that could turn the tide. 13 Corruptors is a lot. They can basically one-shot these Colossi. So Prodigy's going to need to control well. The question is, though, are the Corruptors going to be able to kill off the Colossi before the Colossi exterminates the entire Zerg army? We'll have to see. Now, the Colossi do have some upgrades. They have the 1 armor upgrade, so I'll make them a little bit more durable against the Corruptors. Here we go. Prodigy pushing on up the front. Corruptors flanking from the side. They get 1 Colossi. About to get a second. Prodigy moving the Colossi very nicely, forcing the Corruptors over the Stalkers, so that way the Stalkers can shoot up and hit the Corruptors. Yeah, all these Colossi are going down, but is there a ground army left? Basically, no. There's a Roach and a Zergling. And yeah, Prodigy might just be able to roll through here and kill everything now, as those trickling in Roach reinforcements aren't gonna work out. Yeah, I think this is basically the end for NeurOSiS. If he does want to have a chance of staying in this, he needs to hold his units back and let them get a critical mass. And yeah, he GG's, leaves the game. So well played by Prodigy. Thank you again for sending in your replay. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and leave comments. And I will see you later.